Hi everyone, welcome back to English with Rose. Today, we're going to talk about a very interesting topic. How to deal with people. We all deal with people every day, whether it's at work, at home, or with friends. But sometimes, it can be tricky. So, let's dive in and talk about some tips for handling different situations. In this episode our guest is Alex. Hi Alex, hope you're doing great.
Hi Rose. I'm excited to be here. Dealing with people can be tough. Everyone has their own personality, and sometimes it feels like we're speaking different languages, even if we're talking the same one.
Exactly. People's behavior can be confusing sometimes. So, the first tip I'd give is to listen carefully. When you really listen to what someone is saying, it helps you understand where they're coming from.
Yeah, that's a good one. A lot of time, people just want to feel heard. If you give them your full attention and don't interrupt, it can make a big difference. It's about respect too.
I agree. And that leads to the second point, stay calm and patient. Sometimes people might say things that upset us, but reacting with anger rarely helps. Instead, if we stay calm and keep our emotions in check, it can prevent the situation from getting worse.
Definitely. I think staying patient is really important. It's easy to get frustrated when someone isn't agreeing with you, but if you take a deep breath and think before you speak, you'll have more control over the situation.
Right. And the third tip is, find common ground. Even if you don't agree with someone on everything, there's usually something you can both agree on. This helps create a connection and makes it easier to have a productive conversation.
Exactly. Maybe you both like the same movie, or you both care about the same topic. Focusing on these things can help you feel less divided.
That's a great point. And finally, I'd say, be empathetic. Try to put yourself in the other person's shoes. If you understand their feelings or challenges, you can respond more kindly and with more understanding.
Yeah, empathy is key. Sometimes people act a certain way because they're dealing with their own issues, and when we realize that, it's easier to be patient with them.
Exactly. So, to recap, listen carefully, stay calm and patient, find common ground, and be empathetic. These are all important strategies when dealing with people.
I think those tips can make a big difference in both personal and professional relationships. It's all about creating a positive environment where everyone feels respected and understood.
So Alex, let's dive deeper. How about dealing with difficult people? Sometimes we can't avoid people who are rude or disagreeable. Any advice on that?
Yes, dealing with difficult people is definitely a challenge. I think the first thing to remember is to set boundaries. If someone is being rude or disrespectful, it's important to let them know what's acceptable and what's not.
That's a great point. Setting clear boundaries helps protect your own space and feelings. It can be tough, though, especially if it's someone you have to interact with often, like a coworker or a family member.
Absolutely. But even with family or close friends, you can still set boundaries in a respectful way. For example, if someone is yelling at you, calmly telling them, "I don't appreciate being spoken to that way," can be really powerful. It shows that you're not okay with mistreatment.
Yeah, that's really important. And another thing to consider is choosing your battles. Sometimes, it's not worth arguing or trying to change someone's mind, especially if they're being stubborn or rude.
Exactly. If you realize the situation isn't going to lead anywhere positive, it might be better to just step back. Not every disagreement needs to be turned into a big argument. Sometimes, silence is the best response.
It's true. And I think one of the most powerful things you can do is stay calm in the face of negativity. When someone is being difficult, it can trigger our own frustration. But if we keep our cool, it can actually make the other person realize they're not getting a reaction from us.
It's like when someone is trying to argue with you, and you just stay calm and don't raise your voice. It can be really disarming. They might even realize they're being unreasonable when they don't get the reaction they were expecting.
I love that idea, disarming the situation with calmness. And it's also good to remember that it's okay to walk away if things get too heated. Sometimes, taking a break can give both people time to cool off and think more clearly.
Exactly. If you can walk away and give yourself some space, It can really help you avoid saying something you might regret later. And it also lets the other person know that you're not going to tolerate bad behavior.
That's true. Now, let's talk about something else. How can we stay positive when dealing with people who might drain our energy? You know, those people who always have something negative to say or seem to complain all the time.
The energy drainers. It's tough. I think one of the best things we can do is not take their negativity personally. Often, people who complain a lot are dealing with their own issues, and it has nothing to do with us.
That's a good reminder. It's easy to get caught up in someone else's negative energy, but it's important to remember it's not always about us. And setting boundaries can help here too, right?
Yes, absolutely. If someone is constantly complaining, it's okay to tell them, "I understand you're upset, but I can't focus on the negative right now." You can even suggest a solution like, "Have you thought about trying something positive?" But at the same time, don't feel responsible for fixing their problems.
Right, you're not their therapist. It's important to show compassion, but also protect your own emotional well-being. And sometimes, reframing the situation can help too. If someone is always negative, you could try to steer the conversation towards something more positive or neutral.
Exactly. Even asking, "What's something good that happened to you today?" can shift the conversation. It might feel a little awkward at first, but it could help them see the situation in a new light.
I love that suggestion. And I think we can all agree that being mindful of your own energy is really important when interacting with others. If you protect your own mental space, you'll have more patience and positivity to share with the people around you.
100%. It's like putting on your own oxygen mask first, right? If you're not feeling good about yourself, it's hard to deal with other people in a healthy way. And remember, everyone is different. There's no one-size-fits-all solution. But with some patience, understanding, and empathy, we can all get better at dealing with the people in our lives.
Thank you again for joining me today. I hope our listeners got some great tips to apply in their own lives. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time on English with Rose.
Thanks for having me, Rose. And thank you all for listening. Take care and good luck dealing with the people in your lives.